G'day guys, my name is Callum Hunter and you are watching my review for Ori and the Will of the Wisps. It's been 5 years since Moon Studios released the absolutely fantastic Ori and the Blind Forest, and I am happy to say that the sequel does not disappoint. It has everything that you would expect from a Moon Studios game. Beautiful graphics, totally stunning story, and a really gripping gameplay that will keep you playing for hours and hours. The visuals are absolutely spectacular, there's absolutely no doubt about it. They've retained the original art style of Ori and the Blind Forest, and the backgrounds, once again, play like an oil painting in motion, while the cel-shaded style 2.5D animated characters are simply fantastic to see in motion. It doesn't matter what part of the world you are in, whether it is Inkwater Marsh, the Wellspring, or even some of those more dilapidated, run-down areas like the Moldwood Depths or the Silent Woods. You're still getting this really gorgeous art design all the way through, and it will keep you mesmerized from start to finish as you travel through the world. Now that's not to say that this game, in terms of how it performs, in terms of its look, isn't at some levels disappointing. Even though this is a late generation Xbox One game, it really does suffer from some serious frame rate issues in certain areas of the game. When you're navigating menus from a playable state, it can really slow down as you sort of make your way through. The same can be said as well when the game becomes a little bit more complicated. For example, you could be Ori flying through while an enemy's attacking you and you have to perform a couple of abilities at once. Essentially, the game freezes up and freaks out. Now, I've played this on both Xbox One and Xbox One X, and I must say, if you do have an X, play this game on that console. I just found with an original Xbox One, the game was really choppy, and it can sort of take you away from what's going on. The story in this is utterly captivating, as you would expect from an Ori game. While the first game sort of created this formation of a family that you were seeing in front of you through Ori's journey, this one feels more like the family is separated, and I don't want to give too much away because I do think the story is well worth just observing for yourself, but when the family becomes separated, sort of the lengths that each family member will go to bring that family back together is genuinely heartwarming, and I would be surprised if you're not shedding at least a little bit of a tear by the time the credits roll. In terms of gameplay, it's nice, it's tight, it's Metroidvania as we sort of come to expect Metroidvania games to be. You've got these amazing platform sequences, you've got this really intricate skill tree that you need to build on, not one size fits all for solving every puzzle, which is absolutely fantastic for those of you that want to try different ways of getting to certain places. And just that idea of the whole world being open to you, but also at the same time being closed off, in that, you know, you're going to need an achievement or an ability later down the line to sort of get to a place that you may have only seen 5 minutes into the game. This real desire to explore through it is really very cool, and it gives you more than enough reasons to keep coming back to the game even after you complete the final story. Speaking of coming back to the game, there's a far more deep and involved side story system that wasn't there in Ori and the Blind Forest. There are these little creatures that sort of go through the lands, and it's sort of your mission to help them out, whether it be by delivering them objects, rebuilding things through larger characters, upgrading your abilities, and essentially what you're doing is making the world safer for these creatures to live in, and more importantly, safer for you to traverse through, because as most of you will know from Ori and the Blind Forest, this game gets tricky. It's not to the level of being unfair tricky, like there's just a lot of things going on at once. You're traversing through the air, enemies firing at you, a grab ability, a deflect ability here and there, and you could find yourself using several abilities just to get to an objective, you know, X amount of meters further down the ground, and that can be a little bit frustrating, but not necessarily in the way that the game's out to get you. Generally, your frustrations will reside in the fact that you've made a mistake, and you're going to want to make yourself better, and it does create a far greater sense of reward when you do achieve these goals. But I will say, even dropping this down to a lower difficulty doesn't necessarily mean it's going to be any easier for you. You can take more hits, but the challenge is ultimately there, and really the challenges come from traversing the environment. And all of you that are familiar with Ori and the Blind Forest, you will know that generally speaking, a mistake in some of these obstacle-like arenas will lead to your imminent death. Well, that is my view on Ori and the Will of the Wisps. It is an Xbox One PC exclusive. It is available on Game Pass. If you've got it, it is well worth the time and the money of the subscription fee. Yeah, it's just an absolutely brilliant game, and I think you'd be doing yourself a disservice if you were not a fan of Metroidvania 2D explorations. You might just be a fan after this one. Thank you very much for watching. I'm Callum Hunter, and I look forward to seeing you again.